Howdy, howdy, howdy out there in spray wash land. Hey, Ray and I haven't done a couple of lives here in the last 2 weeks. And so again, I thought I'd jump on and do one here real quick. I want to talk about a couple of different things. So I'm going to end up popping into it. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about is bidding on jobs when you don't even have a clue how to do them, or not how to do them, but whether or not you even can do them. But hey, and then I want to throw out a quick apology to mostly David Rivas. So there was the very first annual, Washing for Life crawfish boil that happened here in Louisiana, and I wasn't able to go yesterday. So, yeah. And Jim Brown says, well, yeah, because y'all keep vacationing. No, Ray is vacationing right now. Me, I'm working hard. There you go. So, anyhow, I missed that crawfish boil, and I wish I'd have been there, but just one of them things. Couldn't make it. I didn't know if I would make it, but I did have to go out with Cajun Soft Wash again today and help him kind of getting some lined up on some jobs and some of the bigger commercial jobs that we do during the summertime. So I had to help him line him out with that too. So anyhow, I see Miss Brenda's on here. Hey, how you doing? So anyhow, one of the things I wanted to talk about is bidding on jobs when you don't have the ability to do the job. Okay. So naturally we're going to think I'm going to be picking on some people because that's what I do anyhow, right? That's not quite what I'm going to do though. So I did want to talk about this a little bit. So I'm going to pick on Brenda Farley. I love Brenda, and I got her permission to do it, so I'm going to do it, and she's here. So it really makes it easier to pick on her because, hey, I love Brenda, and I love to pick on her. Anyhow, so Brenda and I were talking the other day about some things, trying to work through a job situation. And one of the things that she was talking about is, I believe it was something along the lines of, I can't bid on that job or something to that nature because I can't operate a lift. I can't. And Brenda has had heartaches with trying to get up on some of these roofs and such. Okay. But one of the things that I want y'all to remember when you're looking at these jobs and when you're bidding on these jobs, if you're qualified to do the job, but there's some reason that's stopping you from doing the job, as in with Brenda and using the lift or not knowing how to do this or not knowing how to do that, but you're definitely qualified for the job. I can tell you right now, I think Miss Brenda is extremely qualified for a lot of different jobs. And with that being said, there's certain things that she won't do or can't do because sometimes it's fears that hold us back. Sometimes it's just something that we've never really done before, but we're qualified to do the job. We can do the job. We know we can get it done, that sort of thing. But in her case, it was the lift. She hadn't operated that particular type of lift. Plus, it was on a little bit of an incline. Plus, I think it was a slate roof. I don't remember the deal. But anyhow, my point is this right here. What we've got going on, right? So you are connected to that person right there, and then that person's connected to that person right there. Papa Puff, Dave Nizet. I don't know if y'all know who Dave Nizet is. If you don't, shame on you anyhow. So Papa Puff had some large roofs to do before that were clay tile. Okay. So what did he do? It was something that was kind of out of his wheelhouse because we don't do a bunch of those here, and they were really big. Okay. So he was bidding on a job that definitely qualified to do, definitely could do, but what was he able to do? What could he do? Right. He can simply reach out to others in the industry that are very qualified for that particular thing and have them come and help you with that job. He's flown Jeff up from Florida to do a couple of jobs with him. So, and now look at him. He's landed a very big job. Those of you that aren't in pro, probably don't know what he's done. I don't know. But Papa landed some very big stuff, and I'm very, very happy for him. So anyhow, so Christmas lights are another good example, right? If you've never done Christmas lights, but you know you could hang Christmas lights, right? But you don't know how to do or what to do or pricing or all that kind of stuff, you're connected to that person there and that person there and that person over there. That's what this whole internet thing is doing for you. Okay. You can look, there are jobs out there that people shouldn't be doing. That's a fact. And I see a lot of times on here where people are posting about mixture ratios and things that are just off the wall, right? We had one, I think in the academy today or yesterday or the day before, and it was some guy asking a question about a roof job, and it was a 3-tab shingle roof job, okay? And then somebody else was saying, oh, hit that with a 60% mix or a 6% mix. That's just, to me, it's bad advice, right? So we can get bad advice and we can get bad people to work with here, and but we have a lot of people here that we can tap into. And you got to keep that in mind when you're out looking at some of these jobs. If you're qualified for that job and I could do this job for whatever reason it is, but it's a really tall roof and I'm just not sure, or I'm afraid to walk that type of a roof, or I don't know how to operate that type of a lift. Man, we're in this little world here that we can connect with each other and we can help each other, right? And that's part of the whole big point of a lot of this that's going on, is to be able to connect the dots with one another and be able to help each other out. So bidding on jobs that you feel like you know that you're qualified for, but you have a fear of doing, stop walking away from those jobs just because you're afraid to operate that lift, or you're afraid because of the height of it, or find somebody. You might have to increase your bid a little bit, which might help you understand pricing and learn pricing, but raise that price up a little bit and reach out to somebody that is really good at it and hire them, bring them in. It might cost you $400 or $500 for a plane ticket, and it might cost you $1,000 to hire them for the day. All these things you have to figure into the cost. But if it's a job that's worth it or big enough, it's a big HOA, whatever the case may be, there are things that you can do instead of walking away from the job. Unless you're in the greater Baton Rouge area. If you're in the greater Baton Rouge area, I say that you should walk away from the job and send the job to Cajun Soft Wash. Just throwing it out there. Anyhow, hey man, that's I got it. Anyhow, so even if you've never done things like Christmas lights, there are things that you can do, and there are people that you can hire, and there are different Facebook groups that are all about it, and you can do these things as long as you know you're qualified for it. That's kind of all it boils down to for me, right? All right, things like metal roofs go into that same category. A lot of people have never done a metal roof, or they're afraid of a metal roof. As long as you can connect with somebody, and I'll encourage you again to reach out to those people that are in your area first, so that you don't have to pay for that plane ticket and all that kind of thing. But hire people that are in your local area. I go over this probably, I don't know how many times a year, 5,000 times a year, something like that, about hiring competitors and working with competitors and not always treating them like competitors. Look, you can grab some of them guys that you can, if you're going to the convention, the huge convention, meet some of those guys that are in your local area and befriend them. And just as we've gone over this probably 1,000 times before. So I don't want to harp on it, but I still want to keep pushing that point to you, right? And since I mentioned the huge convention, I think the huge convention, if you get there on the 17th of, what is it, August? Yeah, 17th of August. Then the pre-classes are on the 18th of August. And I'm hoping I'm getting my dates right. And then the convention itself starts on the 19th and 20th. Goes the 19th and 20th. I think I got my dates right. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up yet, prices will be going up soon. You can still use the spray wash as your discount code and get $50 off. And then the PWNA is in New Orleans, September 8th and 11th. Don't forget that. It's here in New Orleans, so I'm going to get to go. I didn't think I was going to get to go because actually I still may not get to go. I forgot. My wife has the time off, and I think we're going off and doing a vacation, just her and I. So I don't think I'll be in New Orleans, which is kind of a bummer. I might be back in time. I don't know. And again, I missed that first annual crawfish boil, David Rivas. I'm sorry, brother. Wish I'd have been there. I know Kent was there. Kent Holmes was there. And yeah, so Brenda has popped up and said, we spoke too about the bad 3 tab shingles and the chimney tuck pointing. Client wanted the chimney cleaned and the liabilities of it. Yes. Knowing there is an issue Vernon and I were talking about. So on that particular thing that we were talking about, the guy wanted the chimney cleaned, but the roof shingles were they were curling. They were in bad shape, and she knew that they were in bad shape. Okay. So one of the things that I like to say is that you can't contract away liability. But I also look at it this way. You can, in a way, contract away some liability. What I mean by that, and again, I'm not your lawyer, I'm not your financial advisor, blah, 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 all that kind of fun stuff. But if you put into a contract that you're not responsible for burning the house down because you didn't tape up the electrical receptacles or you didn't do proper preventative techniques, I don't think you're going to be able to contract away your liability, right? However, in a case like this where she's spraying that chimney and the roof is bad and she knows the roof is bad and the homeowner says, hey, it leaks or whatever the case may be, you can contract that away to say, hey, I don't recommend doing this right now because of this roof, or you understand the reason or what can happen if we do this. And then you could in some way contract away the liability side of it. I think that's what we were talking about on it. So anyhow, and I also think Stephen Venturiti, forget it. Stephen was also at that crawfish boil. Sorry, Steve. Anyhow, we're right now we're so hardcore into this, into the season that we're in, right? Everybody is so slammed and so busy, and that was something else I kind of wanted to go over and I wanted to talk about a little bit. So there's still the thing of the ATDP, right? ATDP. Everybody knows what that is. Answer the damn phone. But you're so busy, how do you answer the phone? Okay. So this would be a great time of year to go ahead and look at maybe hiring a phone answering service. There's a lot of different arguments, and you could say that, hey, you know what? If I get an answering service, it just means I get more work. I'm already too busy. I can't keep up. You'd be surprised. Cajun Soft Wash, I mean, hey, guess what? That company can get booked 3 months out, and, have 4 trucks on the road, get booked 4 months out, and still keep booking jobs, okay? My point in that is that you'd be surprised at how many people will wait. Not only that, you're not the only one that's busy, right? So you can get yourself booked 2 months out, 3 months out. Yes, you should probably be hiring. But my point in that is, even if you get yourself booked that far out, get somebody to answer the damn phone for you. Keep booking those jobs. Keep selling those jobs. Take a day off a week or half a day off a week to, even get on the internet and look up those jobs, those sorts of things. This is about if you want to build a long-term and a full-on company, and you've got to have different ways of doing that. And everybody's not, if everybody this time of year is not answering the phone, the guy that is answering the phone or has somebody answering the phone is going to grow and it's going to become bigger and better. Even if you want to stay as a single truck, a single owner operator, you can get yourself booked out 8 months. I mean, who cares, right? If that's what you want to do and you don't want to get any bigger than what you are, I still encourage you to answer the phone, right? Get that, keep those calls coming in, keep yourself booked out. You're going to get some people that'll drop off. It's actually very rare for Cajun Soft Wash to have clients drop off. If they dropped out, I mean, they would typically reschedule. They wouldn't necessarily just go away. Every now and then that would happen, but that's also because, we built a culture of professionalism and doing things right. And we had the following because of that. So, and just, quite simply, just for answering the phone. I mean, seriously. So answer the phone. I want you to also do something else. I want to encourage y'all to do something, right? And I want this to really sink in if I can. And that is, have you ever hired other contractors? And what did you think of those other contractors? And I have a reason for doing this, okay? I'm going to go back to the year 2016. My house flooded, lost everything, right? Okay. We had a lot of different contractors come in, and we had a contractor that screwed something up. And my point to you is this. We got to a point where, okay, I mean, we're virtually moving into the house no matter what. But I decided, okay, I got 2 more contractors that I'm going to call. And I specifically, I don't know why, in my head, I was rating them, okay? The first guy showed up. This is a very, very busy time, right? That's where we're at right now. We're in a busy time of year. So this was an extremely busy time. And the first contractor came in, he looked around, and he threw out a number. That number was 50 grand, okay? He didn't measure anything. He didn't look at anything. He just came in. I guess he did look. He looked around. We didn't talk about what type of tile we wanted. We didn't talk about anything. He just threw out a number of 50 grand. Now, mind you, the house was virtually done at this point. There was little stuff that needed to be taken care of. So in my mind, I was evaluating the contractors as they come through, and I encourage you to do the same thing. If you go to the tire store, if you hire a contractor, you get a contractor to come out and give you a bid on redoing something or taking care of a plumbing issue, whatever that is, evaluate that particular person. Evaluate how they pulled up, what they pulled up, use that as a growing and a learning experience for you. What did you like? What didn't you like? What do you think they should have done? What didn't they do? Right? What did they do that you really liked? Okay, so the second guy shows up. I think I've told this story before, but the second guy pulls up. He pulls up in a wrapped, company vehicle. Wasn't a truck, I believe. It was like wasn't a station wagon, wasn't a whatever. It's like kind of like an SUV kind of a thing. I can't think of what it's called right now. But so he pulls up in this vehicle. It's wrapped. He gets out. He's got a company shirt on. He's got a company hat on. He's being professional. And I'm like, and I had it set in my mind right then and there. This guy is getting the job because I wanted a good professional job done, right? So he impressed me just by pulling up with this. But let me tell you what happened. After he left, because he didn't give me a price when he was there, and I encourage you, if you're going to show up, to give a price right there on site. You should do that, okay? But what happened was he then goes and he leaves, right? And he says, I got to do some figuring, which it made sense. I was cool with that. But then I think it was 2 or 3 days later, I get a text, and that text is nothing more than a price, okay? It doesn't talk about anything. He didn't email me a proper. I am just tongue-tied tonight. He didn't email me a proper proposal. I can't get it out. Proposal. He didn't send me a proper estimate. How's that? I can't say proposal tonight, so it's estimate. He couldn't send me a good estimate. So he should have emailed me an estimate that was detailed, right? He had the job, even if he would have been the same 50 grand as the other guy, which to me was way more than I should be spending at the time. I knew it was overpriced. Okay. The first guy just threw me a price, nothing. So when this guy showed up, company shirt on, company truck, all professional, looked at stuff, measured stuff, all this, right? I expected an actual estimate from the guy, and I didn't get it. He texted me nothing but a price, okay? My point goes back to the same thing. Evaluate whoever it is that you are getting estimates from or that you are doing business with. If it's your insurance agent, how is he handling things for you? Rate him in your own mind. Come up with your own little sheet of how you're going to rate things. Figure out what those things are that you like and that you don't like. And do the same thing as you're driving down the road and you're looking at different trucks and different company vehicles and stuff. What attracted you to that particular thing? Most of the things you're going to notice are things that you're interested in. Think about it this way. When you're hungry, you'll notice things about food more often than you're going to if you just ate or you're full, you're not hungry. If you're just thinking about going out and having a beer, you're going to notice signs that maybe have a beer. You might notice bars or billiards or things like that. So keep in mind the things that you notice when you're like, don't worry about that when you are hungry and you notice the Chick-fil-A sign or the McDonald's sign. That's not what I'm talking about. No, if you notice these things when you're not hungry or you're not expecting them or you're not looking for them, those are the things that should key into your mind in your evaluation of everything that should help you in your business cycle and in what you're going to do with your company, right? All right. The biggest is, would you hire yourself to do the project? I don't know who that is, Facebook user, because that's all it's coming through as. Absolutely. That's the point that I'm trying to get to without saying it correctly. Whoever that Facebook user is should tell me, but that's exactly it. Who is it that you would hire? And would you hire you, right? Are you doing the things that are going to hire you? I'm going to go back up and check the comments because I haven't done that yet. Mr. Jim, I think I already said, hey, Simple Mind 57, Mr. Dan Downey is up there. Facebook user, good evening, sir. Another Facebook user, it was covering security cameras on a third-story building. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that discussion with somebody, and I thought that was with Brenda, but Brenda's already on here. Anyhow, Ryan at Prestige, everything is well, buddy. Loving things, and it's kind of nice. The semi-retirement thing, I really haven't had much time retiring, but oh yeah, the three-story camera thing, that was something that now that I think about it, that was we were talking about, and somebody was saying about not covering cameras and how do you cover cameras at 3 stories. And somebody, I can't think of who it was right off the top of my head, came up with a really good idea for that, by the way. Taking a little bucket and poking a hole in the bottom of it, putting it on an extension pole. I thought that was brilliant. Okay, now you can take that extension pole, you can cover that camera, you can spray around it, you could rinse around it, have your ground guy hold that up there. I thought that was brilliant. That was absolutely awesome. So I guess it's Mr. Alonzo that's saying the biggest thing is, would you hire yourself to do the job? Okay, so all right, let's go back up here, and then Miss Brenda and Mr. Brian is there, and then Mr. Alonzo. So look, one of the things, again, that I encourage y'all to do is just evaluate what it is that other service providers are providing to you, what you like, what you don't like. Would you hire them? Would you not hire them? You know, are you answering the phone? Am I just too busy to answer the phone? Do I want to grow? All these different things that you have to bring into play. And then again, going back to the whole reason for starting this conversation tonight, which is, you know, are you bidding on jobs that you just aren't not qualified for, because that's the wrong words. Are you bidding on jobs that you just can't do? And you can't do them either because you're afraid of them or because you've simply just never done one. You know you can get it done. We're talking about doing some more, what is it? Water towers. And the person that we're talking about the water towers with, never done a water tower. Guess what? I've never done a water tower. But Ray's done plenty of water towers. So we can utilize him and his expertise and some of the things that are in the academy and on pro and all these things in order to get that knowledge. Or if you can't, you hire somebody that can do that job. I'm perfectly capable of doing something like that. I love working out of lifts. I don't mind going up the center and hanging out the sides. I can do all of that. So I don't have those fears, if you would. If you have that fear, I mean, Jacob Deal, let's see, Jacob Dial. I just love making fun of Jacob and his last name, by the way. So Jacob is one of those guys that he'll tell you, there's no way I'm going up on top of that thing, right? So can Jacob then not do that job? Sure he can, right? He's perfectly capable. He knows what to do, okay? He may have to hire somebody. So don't sell yourself out of a job just because of your fears, or I can't do that, or I'm too big for that, or I'm too small for that, or my hair's the wrong color, or whatever. You know, that's another thing. I'm going to touch on a sore subject that Brenda and I talked about. And I hope you don't mind, Brenda, because I'm going to talk about it. And the only reason that it is a somebody said, if there was a taco up there, he would do it. Yes, he would. Okay. So Brenda and I were talking about government bids and bidding on government jobs. And I'm going to tell you, I encouraged her to use her female status. Okay. And the reason being is Brenda said to me, I don't want to, because Brenda's top notch. She's quality, right? And so she's like, I don't want to win a job just because I'm female. I want to win a job because I'm better than you are, right? I want to win the job because I'm qualified to do that job. Great. And I respect that. I respect her for that. And I love that. However, when you're dealing with a government job, okay, there are certain factors that you should keep in mind and that you should play, okay? If you're a U.S. veteran, you should be using that card, okay? That is a card you've earned and you deserve, okay? If you're a female, okay, do you deserve that card just because you're a female? Well, I don't think you deserve that. I think if you're qualified and you're the right person for the job, you should get that job. But a lot of the times on the government style jobs, if they're looking for the lowest, if they are looking for the lowest bidder, okay, it doesn't matter. And then a way to get around that is sometimes they have to hire either a minority, they have to hire a woman-owned business, a veteran-owned business. So the reason I was encouraging her as well is because I'm like, look, if it goes out to public bid, how many people are going to bid on that project? Okay. And how many of those bids are going to be from female-owned companies? Okay. The female might not ever even do anything. She might do everything like Brenda does, right? Could be either or. But people will use that to their benefit to be able to beat you out. And so Brenda could bid on the job, do a better job, do a faster job, do a higher quality job. And though she was even less expensive than this other company, she didn't get hired because she didn't list that she was a female. So on those jobs, I mean, even though I think it's unfair, right? I think you should be using those things to your advantage because it's there. And it's one of the examples that I used is the whole Trump thing. Everybody said, well, Trump failed in business X number of times. He's filed bankruptcy. Trump will be the first one to tell you that I used the laws of the United States to my benefit. Okay. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't break any laws. I didn't break any rules. I used the rules to my benefit. I'm not trying to get into a political discussion, but my point in this is if you are involved in that bidding process, use the tools at your disposal and that are legal to use and that you should be using. Again, I'm going to fall back to that veteran status. If you're a veteran and you should be using that status to help you win jobs because you've earned it. It's actually kind of funny that I'm even mentioning this because I had a conversation with Matt, the owner of Cajun Soft Wash today. One of the things that we talked about was, in Congress and in this, and sometimes there's, I guess there's these people that get lifelong money. They get paid for the rest of their lives because they served 1 term or 2 terms or whatever, right? So because they served the people, they get to collect a pension or whatever for the rest of their natural born days. And you know what? I thought about that today. And I thought, you know what? The next time I hear a statement like that, I'm going to say, great. Then that means every single U.S. veteran in this country deserves to be paid for the rest of their lives. They didn't serve just 1 term in their office there, okay? Especially if they went over and, lost a limb or whatever. If I'm getting off on a tangent here about political stuff that I probably should stay away from, but that's my feeling. If you serve in Congress 1 term and you get to get paid for the rest of your life, then veterans ought to get paid for their entire life for what they did, right? That's just my feelings. Anyhow, another Facebook user says, without failure, there is no success. Absolutely. You have to trip and fall in order to learn to walk. You have to do these things to learn in business. You've got to get punched in the face every now and then just to understand and just to learn and grow from it. You've got to trip. You got to stumble. You have to make mistakes. That's where it is. Look, I'll throw my son under the bus at the moment. So my son is doing things that I don't personally like, right? My daughter does things I don't personally like. But guess what? they're at this point in their lives where I've done everything I can do, right? I mean, I can still keep teaching, and I can tell them I don't like this, or I can tell, but they have to fail. They have to fall. That way they can pick themselves up. And that's what you've got to do, right? Okay. Not wanting to step that off in that direction. But anyhow, again, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it short again. But I just wanted to pop on, say a few things. I think you'll have Ray and I back, should be back next Sunday. I think we're going to do a little interview series coming up next week's, and I think we'll do it on Sunday. We might do it Monday. We might do it tomorrow. I'm not sure. We've been kind of flip-flopping talking about it, but we've been doing a lot of that lately. So anyhow, I think I'm out of here. I appreciate y'all. I'm still tired, so I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to call it a day, call it a night, whatever it is I'm going to call it. But hey, I appreciate y'all for listening again, and you got W-Do out of here.